Thank you so much for that introduction, Angie. I want to say to all the wonderful women here, if you've ever thought that you were orgasmic, and whether you knew that becoming orgasmic is crucial for your health and well-being. In fact, becoming orgasmic could change the very way you look at life. Yet, would you recognize an orgasm if you didn't call it one? I want to tell you that your body remembers. It was designed to remember that you're an orgasmic woman. You've always been an orgasmic woman. And I want to take you back to maybe an experience you had. And for me, it was like sitting in that basket at the top of a Ferris wheel with a 180-degree view of the fair, the people there, and the noise, and the excitement, and the sheer energy of that basket hurtling down, the blood rushing in my ears, and the happiness on my face, and the screams of joy. Your body remembers an orgasmic experience. But most women don't think of it that way. They're content with the statistics that, less than 30% of women across the world actually have orgasms. But I want to say it's only because they don't know yet they can. As a gynecologist and sex therapist, I get to teach women how to become orgasmic. I call them my orgasm graduates. After all, what is graduation? It's about learning a vocabulary, creating paragraphs, and then writing your essay and submitting it and getting your degree. Well, orgasms are no different. Your body has a language, it has a vocabulary, it speaks to you. And you can collate your experiences and stack them. And you can generate your own thesis, which is having orgasms on demand, intense ones, mild ones, experiential ones. And guess what amazing things you can do with an orgasm on demand. We'll talk about that. Now, I want you to know that by the end of this talk, you'll know why you need to have orgasms and how to get there. Orgasm is an explosion of physical, psychological, maybe even spiritual, like Osho said, experiences at the peak of a sexual experience. Your body, the muscles in your body contract and relax. There's a flush of blood into your skin, maybe into all the erogenous zones of your body, especially around your genitals and the vagina. It lubricates. There's this, your brain is bathed in amazing chemicals. Serotonin, dopamine, that pleasure-seeking chemical that makes you keep wanting more. And of course, oxytocin, the chemical that makes you fall in love with the person you're having an orgasm with, even if it's you. But evolution hasn't been that great. There's something called an orgasm gap. Men orgasm really quickly, a few minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Women take a lot longer and a lot more stimulation, 14 to 16 minutes. Well, maybe it wasn't a design fault after all. See, when men don't orgasm or ejaculate, it's like dying. It literally is. If a man doesn't orgasm or ejaculate, he's going to be wiped out. He's going to become extinct, right? So it is about survival for men. For women, it's like the proverbial apple for health. You can have it, you don't have it, doesn't make a difference. But the truth is, as a woman, you don't need orgasms to get pregnant. And the last thing you want to do is get attached to a guy who's going to leave you and walk over to the next woman, leaving you to look after your kid, if you're hung up on this love you felt for this guy you immediately had an orgasm with. So delaying the orgasm actually has some benefit. You're not hung up on this person whose kid you're going to have. Because remember, those days, there wasn't contraception. Now we're lucky. We get to choose contraception, the kids, as well as the orgasm. Just like in Harry Met Sally, where Sally, she builds on her physical experience and describes that orgasm, and everybody in the restaurant say, hey, I'm going to have what she had, completely bypassing the fact that it wasn't the food. It was her ability to tap into her physical experience. But orgasms are just magical. They give you this amazing physical experience, but it's also a trance state. Remember? Osho had it right. It is a trance state where you're completely in your body, in the present moment, not in the future, not in the past, experiencing this intense pleasure. Your hormones get a reset, your adrenals get a rest. Women who orgasm and build on that orgasmic experience learn to be a lot happier. They have happy chemicals in their brain. Little things don't stress them out. They don't get irritated. Oh, if we just had a few more leaders who had orgasmic experiences, we'd live in a much happier world. Happier relationships. You could just be so much present. Imagine living three-dimensional in even color, cinemascope. That's what your life would be like if you could orgasm on demand. Well, why can't you? Why don't women orgasm more? It's the taboo in the ooh of orgasms. Society that puts burdens on us, how we should show up in the bedroom and outside. The woman who takes pleasure in her hands is looked down upon. In relationships across the world, men expect certain things in a sexual relationship. So do other partners, of course. This expectation can put a big burden on a woman. And maybe it stops her getting the orgasm she could. She can't let go. Stress, the stress of finances, of kids, teenagers, in-laws, the future and the past, resentments, anger, completely robs her. And relationships, where guilt, blame, shame, and criticism live, or desire and orgasm just fly out of the window there. And that small percentage of women who had surgery, who are on antidepressants, medication, those who are diabetic, the small nerves and vessels that die when you're diabetic, hypertensive, on oral contraceptive pills, different kind of hormone medications, you're sick, depressed, fibromyalgia. How can you feel the subtle sensations of orgasms? Yet, we as women are endowed with that one structure that was designed purely pleasure. Nothing else. It has no other purpose. The clitoris. And yet, what you and I recognize as the clitoris is literally only the tip of an amazing structure that surrounds the entrance to the vagina, the urethra, the anterior wall of the vagina, the introitus, deep inside your G spot and the C and the O spot. Amazing structure. You know what? It needs a good blood supply, which is why I often talk about vascular health. Your ability to be erogenous, to get great arousal and amazing orgasms, depends on your vascular health. Your vascular health depends on how good you are nutritionally topped up. How great is your fitness? Did you know athletes have 30% more clitoral blood flow and pelvic floor blood flow than non-athletes, which means they have better arousals and better orgasms? What about the myth of relationships? Everybody till now has been talking about, you've got to masturbate more, you've got to, have a spiky new relationship, spicy relationship, multiple partners. No, what research shows is that having a consistent partner in an open relationship where you can talk, you can go deep and be vulnerable and open. Partner who loves to see you climax, who worships you, adores you. That's the woman who gets to experience multiple orgasms. And as they learn from each other, this orgasmic experience gets embedded in her body. She becomes this multi-orgasmic woman. Orgasms thrive on feeling safe. Oh, yes, another thing. Orgasms thrive on you being able to let go. Letting go. A client of mine, Rupali, demonstrated this to me really recently. And she was saying, oh, doctor, I'm a little bit afraid of having my orgasm. Well, why? You're one of my best orgasm graduates. You know how to orgasm. He said, well, I look at my husband. He orgasms and he just goes over and goes to sleep. I love my arousal. I want it to go on. I said, silly woman, you're multi-orgasmic. You have the ability to have orgasms and orgasms. When you walk on the seashore or the ocean shore on the sand and your feet are getting wet as the waves come in, you don't hold on to the wave and say, oh, don't go. I want you to wet my feet more. You enjoy it and let it go until the next one comes. And then the next one comes. And then the next one comes. And you enjoy your walk. But maybe, just maybe, she was experiencing one of those 3 orgasms that a new device called the Lioness, it's a vibrator, coupled with artificial intelligence. And there's 3 types of orgasms. Did you know that? Ocean waves, avalanches, and volcanoes. Oh, if a machine can learn to teach you and learn from you about orgasms, why can't you? Of course you can. Simple. You learn the vocabulary. Remember, being a graduate, you understand your body. You listen to it, stay present in your body. Learn to experience your body. You build on orgasmic platforms. Remember the Ferris wheel and the excitement you felt? Your body remembers how to get excited and turned on by events. And what about some orgasmic triggers? Touching your back. Did you know your estrogen levels correlate with how much you can touch your back? Bet you didn't know that. And hanging your head off the edge of the blood so there's more blood supply to your brain. As Esther Perel says, if you're an erotic couple, you know that foreplay doesn't end at the end of the last orgasm. It continues until the next sexual encounter. So you don't miss a chance to trigger your arousal. Think sexy thoughts. Send those messages. And revel in feeling aroused. And if you're menopausal, getting some vaginal estrogen, exercising your pelvic floor, all of that. And making sure you stimulate your clitoris at least once or twice in a month. That can go a long way making sure it's healthy. Like my client, in her 50s, she met a young sweetheart from teenage years. She'd been divorced for almost a decade, come out of a traumatic relationship. She was in love. You know what Shakespeare says? To love and be loved is the most amazing thing you can experience. Well, you could tell she was in love when she walked into my clinic. Oh, her eyes sparkled, her smile wrinkled her eyes and her cheekbones, and she stood up taller. She was slimmer, fitter. Her confidence oozed. You knew she was with somebody who adored her. You knew it. And at work, she had won so many awards. She was being given project after project. She was present. She was productive. She was in a happy place. She coped with anything that people threw at her. Like I said, I wish we had more leaders who were orgasmic. It would transform the world, I tell you. Coming back to the apple, An apple a day can keep the doctor away, but if the doctor's handsome, fuck the apple and have an orgasm instead. Who do you know needs to become orgasmic? Thank you.